Now, your boy Cosmic Wonder is dropping some big news today, and apparently it's not just him. They're talking about seemingly confirmed by some credible sources Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 actually happening with director Sam Raimi coming back. Let's see what he has to say about this.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and if you love Spider-Man, we have some amazing Spider-Man news today. Not actually for the amazing Spider-Man character, sorry Andrew Garfield, but for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man character. Although, of course, we are going to be talking about Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and Tom Holland's Spider-Man as well in this video. But it looks like Tobey Maguire could be coming back to play Spider-Man once again, this time possibly in his own solo film, giving us a Spider-Man 4. The movie that we never got, that we were supposed to get. If you are unaware, Sam Raimi, the legendary director, directed the first 3 Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire. However, there was supposed to be a 4th Spider-Man film,
that they started
also
producing,
with Tobey Maguire. Vulture was supposed to be the main villain of this film. However, due to a lot of criticism and hate that happened with Spider-Man 3, the studio decided not to make the film.
And they had actually already started making the film. That's the crazy part about it. In 2007, 2008, they actually started making Spider-Man 4, like started the storyboard. You can find it on YouTube and everything. So the work is there. So what he's saying is right.
Based off of previous interviews that we've seen, this really hurt Sam Raimi and it hurt Tobey Maguire. And it also kind of put, not necessarily a bad taste in Sam Raimi's mouth, but it kind of left its mark. So we never thought we would be getting the 4th Spider-Man film with Sam Raimi directing and Tobey Maguire being the Spider-Man. However, a lot has changed recently. We've had Spider-Man No Way Home, in which Tobey Maguire, of course, came back with Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland. Then we got Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness, in which Kevin Feige asked Sam Raimi to come back and direct it after they lost the director Scott Derrickson. So both since have made their return to Marvel and their debuts in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I'm thinking that, No Way Home was a love letter to the fans of Spider-Man, and that was going to be like the swan song for, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Like that was just, hey guys, just bringing it back, and that's that. I mean, let's see.
And now, an actor from the Spider-Man franchise has stated that he has heard that Sam Raimi could possibly be doing Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire.
Who's his actor?
He said this in an interview with comicbook.com, which of course we'll go over in this video and talk about what Spider-Man 4 could actually be about. So comicbook.com recently did an interview with Thomas Hayden Church. He played Flint Marko, aka Sandman, in Spider-Man 3, and he returned to play Sandman once again in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Technically, he wasn't really there. He just provided the voice for Sandman in No Way Home, but he wasn't actually physically on set. They had to use CGI and archive footage from Spider-Man 3 for him. But kinda.
And in this recent interview with comicbook.com, he told them that he would love to appear in another Spider-Man film and that he's heard there could be a Spider-Man 4. Okay. In the interview with comicbook.com, this is what he said. There's always been some kind of, I've heard rumors that Sam Raimi was going to do another Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, and if that happens, I would probably campaign to maybe at least do a cameo. Now, what's really interesting about this is there's been a lot of rumors going on after Spider-Man No Way Home. This isn't the first time that we've heard somebody talk about Spider-Man 4. In fact, many insiders have stated that Sony is very interested in developing a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire. And after Sam Raimi came back to do Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, he did say that that taste was out of his mouth, and that essentially he has moved on from the hate that Spider-Man 3 got. And we do know that he was pretty heartbroken that he didn't get to do Spider-Man 4. But after Spider-Man No Way Home came out, Tobey Maguire stated that he would love to return again as Spider-Man. He would love to do more. And I think after Spider-Man No Way Home, many fans would love to see Tobey Maguire come back and see a story that could be about a completely different part of his.
And I know a lot of fans campaign for this. Like, a part of me does, but a bigger part of me doesn't. And the reason for that is because eventually we have to let these own Spider-Man exist in their own universes. I mean, come on. Like, listen, I'm as big a Spider-Man fan as it gets, right? You want to know how big of a Spider-Man fan that I am? Need I say more? Need I say more?
Spider-Man's life, a life where he is married to MJ and possibly even has a daughter, May Parker, who eventually goes on in the comics to become Spider-Girl. We actually got to see May Parker recently, Peter B. Parker's child, in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, in which we did also see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man in that movie as well. However, the footage used was old footage from the previous Spider-Man films. So the thought of Tobey Maguire returning for a Spider-Man 4 along with Sam Raimi, the director of the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire, is super exciting. Now, as far as what it could be about, if they are going to go with what Spider-Man 4 was originally going to be about, this could be a fight between Spider-Man and Vulture, but a fight in a way that we've never really seen before. We also know
But then you got to think about it. We've already seen Spider-Man versus Vulture on the big screen already, with Tom Holland Spider-Man in Spider-Man Homecoming, right? So it's going to confuse a lot of people, like, who aren't super fans, but who kind of remember Tom Holland and also Tobey Maguire. So what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't. And I think we just need to eventually let the characters go into their own universes. I think the ending scene of No Way Home, where Toby and Andrew were just kind of hanging on each other and then just kind of give them the peace sign, I think that was kind of a good send-off. You know, I don't think we need to go dive deeper into there and confuse the fans. Watch they go ahead and bring him back for like Venom or 3 or what's the other thing, Madam Web or something like that, because those Sony Marvel movies don't actually have a Spider-Man, but those characters all surround Spider-Man. So that's also weird for me, you know? I don't know.
A bit of what the plot of this film was actually going
to
be
make
and
sense.
who exactly was going to
confuse
be in it.
people.
And an animation and VFX designer for the film actually released test footage of what the fight between Spider-Man and Vulture was supposed to be like. But as far as plot details of what Spider-Man 4 was supposed to be about, it was supposed to be about Peter Parker and Mary Jane Watson's relationship being kind of thrown into turmoil by the arrival of Peter's new colleague, Felicia Hardy, aka Black Cat, who was supposed to be played by Anne Hathaway. While attempting to navigate his feelings for Felicia, Peter must also battle the Vulture, a criminal mastermind who plans to seize control of New York City's criminal underworld.
I just don't see that working.
That the Vulture...
See, but the thing is with it, right? Because Sony owns the character in live action. Marvel Studios licenses Spider-Man in live action from Sony, so that's why they always have that sort of weird relationship, right? The one where Bob Iger had to get involved with it a while ago. But
is Adrian Toomes?
I don't, you know, how are they gonna do that? Is Sony gonna release their own non-MCU, like Tobey Maguire based Spider-Man 4? But how does that then link with the other Spider-Man movies that Sony already has going on? It doesn't make much sense to me how that's going to work. I mean, we want to get definitive closure, but I think No Way Home was kind of that, you know, piece. Hey, we kind of brought him back. And then there are also rumors that, well, it's always been rumors that they were bringing Andrew Garfield to be the Spider-Man in the Venomverse. You know, I don't know, man. I don't know.
And Felicia adopts the identity of Vultress to seek revenge for her father. She ends up defeating Peter, but spares his life and moves to Europe, while MJ moves to LA after learning that Peter cheated on her, and Peter rage quits being Spider-Man again. Now, that was what Spider-Man 4 could have been. Obviously, due to creative differences, this project never happened.
Because then that plot would have involved having to have a Spider-Man 5. I mean, if you're gonna do another one, it's gotta wrap it up, like, completely.
I think that it was probably a good thing at the time. I'm not sure this is what some fans would have really liked to see, and according to some of the designers, some VFX designers, a lot of people didn't really see John Malkovich as Vulture. And I imagine that Sam Raimi and Tobey Maguire will want to basically do something from scratch. Not completely from scratch. Of course, I'm sure they'll keep the same continuity with Spider-Man 1 through 3. Again, this still should be a sequel from Spider-Man 3. But we've already had a Vulture in the MCU. Technically, we still kind of have him if he's not transferred to the Sony universe yet. That's still kind of confusing to us. But
Yes.
we've seen Vulture. And again, we recently saw him in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. But luckily, there are just
That's
so
true. He
many
was in Across the
awesome
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Man characters that we could see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man fight in Spider-Man 4. Plus, not to mention, the MCU exists now, and it didn't before. So a whole different world, literally, of possibilities is now open. They could have a Spider-Man movie that sets place inside of the MCU, especially with incursions happening right now and the multiverse being a huge thing. It is,
but
after
just
all,
a whole
multiverse
lot of
saga.
confusion,
There is
though.
just a ton of potential right now for a fourth Spider-Man film because there are just so many different ways that they could go about making this movie. They could have it take place inside of the MCU in a different universe, or they could simply have it exist in its own universe from before, the Sony universe. Again,
We don't need it, guys. We don't need it. I don't think we need it. I think it's just gonna add more confusion. I think we just need to let it go. That's my opinion on it. So if you actually Google like Tobey Maguire right now, there's a bunch of credible sites, right? Comicbook.com, CBR, and then there's also Fandom Wire, who's kind of saying the same thing. So it's really starting to pick up in the news cycle. So I mean, it has some legs to it, and let's see what one of these articles say. So this is the one from comicbook.com, and it's kind of the same thing. When you get to the quote with the actor who played Sandman, it's the same thing. There's always kind of been some rumors. I've heard rumors that Sam Raimi is going to do another Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. If it happens, I'd campaign to do a cameo. So yeah, same thing that he said, in there. So I guess all these articles are basically going to quote the same thing, right? But I guess my whole take on it really just has to do with the fact that at some point we just got to move on. I mean, we got to accept that the history we have is the history we got. And it ended with Spider-Man 3. We were blessed to have him and Andrew appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. And that movie within itself was such a love letter. Across the Spider-Verse was such a love letter. And so who knows what Beyond the Spider-Verse is going to be, right? And so I think there may be opportunities to even, a better thing would be to do is in Beyond the Spider-Verse include more live action Spider-Man than they did in the Beyond the Spider-Verse sequel. In the Across the Spider-Verse sequel. So I think maybe do that there instead of making it a whole movie. Maybe Miles can interact with some of the live action Spider-Man in that context, and that movie can go ahead and make $1 billion. That we don't need to have a confusing Spider-Man 4 or a confusing The Amazing Spider-Man Part 3, and then we want to also have a Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. How are we going to have Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland and a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, and then still talk about Spider-Man and the Venomverse? Like, what are you guys trying to do to the fans? And not just the fans, what are you guys trying to do to the general audience who just likes to go to the movies but doesn't necessarily care about all the different universe things and all that stuff? So I think that's just the way to think about it. I'm a diehard Spider-Man fan. So, I mean, I obviously want to see stuff being done in a way that honors the character, that honors the comics, and honors the work that's gone ahead. But yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. But I could be wrong. I mean, I could be in the minority. So let me know what you guys think about it. Do you think they should do another Spider-Man 4? Is it worth it? With Tobey Maguire, I mean, do you think it's actually true? Is also another question. So let me know in the comments, right? Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, guys. Peace.